Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. No choice but to mandate you get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you. Alonzo Bodden, our friend and very funny stand-up comedian, is in studio. It's going to be in Saginaw, Michigan at Dow Event Center. It's coming up October 25th, so do not miss a great stand-up if you're anywhere near that area. Got dates all over the place. AlonzoBodden.com is where you go. Good to see you again, Alonzo.
What's up, man?
I have a million thoughts. Alonzo and I participated in the comedy fantasy camps. A lot of never felt funnier in my life. We can get into that after watching 47 would-be stand-ups.
Is that the number? I lost count. I didn't know how many there were.
Well, I have so many things to get into regarding that. There's some food-related stuff, too, which is tacos we got. I don't know if you sampled the taco.
The random tacos, yeah.
It was a random taco. I thought it was a fish taco. It was a chicken taco.
Yeah, I thought it was chicken.
Not a good sign.
Not a good sign that there's controversy about the protein that was in the taco. I do not like... I will eat a chicken taco, not that one. That was not a good one. But I have my taco power rankings, and steak is always at the top, and sometimes I get into like the pork ones and some version of the fish ones, but chicken is always at the bottom of my taco power rankings. But how say you, Alonzo Bodden?
I say at that point we had been there for over 3 hours without any sustenance.
Yes, so a bottled water at some point.
At that point, a chicken taco is delicious. Also, here's my comedy club theory. Keep it simple.
Oh, yes.
I don't want any, like, if you just grill some chicken and throw it on a tortilla, I'll take that because you're not going to screw that up. I don't need shrimp scampi from a comedy club or,
Right.
Chicken Alfredo. No, just
no.
Yeah.
I agree.
If you can cook it on a grill and hand it to me, I'll take that.
I agree because it's not that shrimp scampi isn't good; it's that you can't pull it off. So if I was a coach of ladies gymnastics and I had someone that wasn't particularly good at the floor plan, I would say just run and try. Just do a cartwheel and then one flip. But if you go for the triple gainer, you're going to land on your face.
Exactly.
So it's not that the triple gainer isn't good. It's that you can't execute it.
Yeah. They're not, they're not chefs. I mean, they're cooks. And there is a difference. And no disrespect to them. I've eaten in a million comedy clubs. My thing is grilled chicken sandwich or a burger.
Yep.
That's my order.
Get the
grilled
burger.
Chicken or
Can
a
never
burger.
go wrong with the burger.
Even sometimes the wrap, you're like, not sure. I think this was yesterday's chicken wrapped up. So,
and the wrap often has too much superfluous goo in there that's shot out of a squeegee or shot out of a out of a caulking gun, and I don't even know what's in that shit.
They're not sure either, because the guy was working on the floor, so it might have been the caulk or it might have been the ranch. They put them both next to each other.
You'll be happy to know that because I'm such a fan of yours, I called Mike August, who presented us with the tacos shortly before the show, and I said, Mike, why did you get us chicken tacos? And why not steak? Like, when in doubt, steak, beef, tacos, carne asada. And he said, I only got the choice of chicken or shrimp.
Okay, so he made the right choice in that.
All right, you went with chicken.
Yeah.
I get it.
Given those two, he made the right choice.
Yeah, so we watched 44, 47 open micers, essentially.
Back to back.
Literally back to back. I mean, 25 seconds in between acts. Now, the thing that's funny, and Alonzo, you probably experienced this as well, half the people used up the first minute of their 3 minutes complaining that they only had 3 minutes. Which I would always say to people, it's the same people who do crowd work.
Right.
When they have 10 minutes or 5 minutes, it's like, just get to the act. Just do the jokes. Don't do crowd work. You're doing a short set. And if you're complaining, ironically, that you only got 3 minutes and you just burnt 1 minute complaining about it, now you have 2 minutes to disarm the bomb.
I was writing notes, and I wrote that note repeatedly. Get to the joke. Get to the first joke. Don't acknowledge Adam. Don't try to be, because a lot of them were trying to be funny with you.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, that's going to do you no good. Just get to the joke. And the other thing that they did, and just about all of them did it, was run the light. So the light comes on. They got 3 minutes. The light comes on, but I know what it is. In their mind, or worse, reading from their phone, they had to get all of their jokes in.
Right.
And one of the things I wanted to tell them was like, look, if the light's on and you get a big laugh, stop. You're done. Like, just don't worry about what else you wrote. You got a big laugh. You did your time. Walk away a hero.
It's also amazing how many people just read verbatim from their phone, just held it. I never signed off on it, but I haven't signed off on it if it was a eulogy. Like, I wouldn't want someone eulogizing me just staring down at their phone. I commit it to memory, or at least get the beats down and eye contact.
If you're reading it from your phone or from your pad or whatever, then I don't need you.
Right.
Just hand it to me and let me read the list.
And I'll read
it. Just email me and I'll read these without you. And you're right. A lot of people did that. And it's one of the things that, I've worked with these new comic things before. And I always tell them, memorize your act. Like, you should know your act backwards, forwards, and sideways. Because when you get up there, no matter what you think, especially if it's your first time up, you're going to get nervous. First time I went up, I went blank. I told 2 jokes and I blanked. So you got to have it memorized and ready to go. And then, they watch pros, right? They watch pros and they see that. I don't remember the alternative comedy movement. Remember when that was huge?
Yes.
And every comic went up and they put their notes on a music stand. I think they saw Sarah Silverman do it or somebody like that. And they said,
Largo.
Oh, yeah. So I just put my notes on the music. It's like, no, you're not that good.
Right.
No, you're not that good. She's working out some new material for a special. She's going through it. She can read it and play with it. You need to memorize.
Were you guys like American Idol style judges? Did you give them notes?
No, we let them all just run through it, made notes, and then I'll get my notes in order and they'll be sent to those people. But the number one notes are pretty much the basics that we just kind of discussed. I wasn't trying to punch up people's material. I was just sort of talking about delivery. Yeah,
there were a couple. Another thing that happens with a lot of them is they have one good joke. Mm-hmm. Like, within their 3-minute set, they have one good joke. Or what kills you even more is when and I wrote this note for a lot of them, a lot of premises with no punchline.
Yes, where they start down the road of a premise and you go, oh, that's interesting, and then it does, and then it kind of coasts to a
right, they
stop.
just leave it there.
Right.
You ever see when 2 guys walk into, so anyway.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, you there's nothing worse than an interesting premise where you go, hey, that's good. Like, I wonder, where's this going? But it doesn't go anywhere. So
yeah, because in conversation, like if you're talking to someone, especially someone you can do that because they know your sense of humor and they'll fill in the blanks of what you're talking about. And what they don't understand is the crowd has no idea what you're talking. You have to spoon feed the crowd the joke. You have to give them the premise and give them the punchline. And don't expect them to make a big jump in logic because you can make the big jump in logic. They're not.
Right.
They're not thinking the same way,
Yeah. Well, Alonzo, so you won Last Comic Standing.
Yeah.
Season 3. So you've done a lot of short sets, like 3 minutes. To everybody else, like who's been watching stand up, obviously not performing, 3 minutes seems like nothing, right? But then when you're up there, probably feels a lot longer.
Well, I would look at it. I was thinking about this. It's like the NFL combines. We don't need more than 3 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll take your 40 time. We'll check your vertical. And there's a barbell over there with 220 pounds on it. We'll see how many reps you can get.
Yeah.
We'll learn a lot about you in 3 minutes. When it comes to the 40, we'll learn a lot about you in 5 seconds or under.
Right.
Like, and I do feel like comedy's that way.
Jamie Masada, who runs the Laugh Factory, he does his open mic. He does 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And people, he said, if you can't be funny in 3 minutes, you won't be funny for 20.
Sure. And also, let's not look at 3 minutes on stage. When you go, well, 3 minutes, that's not enough time. 3 minutes is the time for a boxing round what would you and Mike Tyson do for 3 minutes?
Mike Tyson would end that in 1 minute.
Right. That would be.
I would lay down for
Right.
two.
That would be. That would be way too much time for Mike Tyson and you. So if you kind of want to know, is 3 minutes a long period of time or a short period of time? Picture being in the ring with some guy who was an MMA specialist for 3 minutes, and then tell me what it felt like.
Well, the old veterans, the comics of the 80s, they told me, because I started in the 90s, they said when you did Carson expected 4 jokes per minute. Like they literally had a formula. They wanted 4 laughs per minute. So in 3 minutes, you should get 12 laughs. Now,
Right.
Now that wasn't true of everybody. Some comics were more storytellers, this or that. But if you're a setup punch, if you're going up there doing jokes, get to the point.
What's the best way to get the crowd on your side in 3 minutes, like early on? Like, do you guys have any tricks or?
Yeah, make them laugh quick. When I did Last Comic, I had done a lot of comedy competitions early in my career, from bar competitions to this or that, the other. You learn, it's laughs per minute. Like you can have one great joke that lasts 2 minutes. In that 2 minutes, man, I hit them 6-7 times. Boom, boom, bang, boom, boom, bang, boom. That's and it sustains, it builds. Yeah. And for these comics, for these new comics, I know you guys were teaching them the biggest sin new comics have, and Adam talked about it. You talk too much without saying anything funny. You come on stage and you have 3 minutes and you spend 1.5 minutes just talking.
Right. Yeah. Get out. Listen, if you can get in funny and get out funny, you'll get a good overall score.
Sure.
They're not as interested in the middle as they are at the beginning and the end. All right, more food-related discussions to have with Alonzo Bodden.
Of course.
I was in San Francisco, and I had a dilemma, and you can tell me if you've experienced this. I do not go out to breakfast very often because I'm more like have a cup of coffee and put some heavy cream in it, and that'll kind of get you through the day because you're getting old and you're going to get fat, and so don't do it. But when I'm out on the road, I always go to Mike August, let's find a kick-ass breakfast place. And it's always the Saturday breakfast. You get in late-ish on Friday, you hustle to the hotel, you hustle to the gig, you do 2 shows, you come back to the hotel at 12:30 at night, and I just tell Mike, go find me some good hash browns somewhere, and let's just call it a night. I'll call you when I wake up, and at some point, I call him in the morning, and he's found some place with good hash browns. Now, for me, the reason I focus on the hash browns is because eggs are pretty much eggs where you go. Most people do a decent job at the fruit cup or the toast or even the Denver omelet. I don't even know that there's a discernible difference between a Denver omelet at a really good place and a Denver omelet at a Waffle House. But the hash browns.
The entertainment at the Waffle House.
That's true. Watching the poor beleaguered, thrice divorced woman in her 50s just fucking sweating her ass off and hustling the whole time.
Respect.
Respect. I love that woman. But so now here's the dilemma, and you guys can tell me what you would do. If you go to a place in San Francisco, a place in Malibu, a place in Beverly Hills, or Seattle, Washington, any place that is kind of hoity-toity, you will not get the option of hash browns. You get cubed potatoes, which nobody wants. Nobody wants them, but for some reason, they're too good for them at the cool place because Waffle House and IHOP do that. We do something else. We do not do what IHOP does. That's for poor people. We're a rich person place, so we do potatoes in a way that are less enjoyable, but they're ours. And that's Alonzo's. Alonzo's a 140-pound dog?
160.
Holy shit.
Great Dane, 160.
Oh, my God. Just Marmaduking it all up and down the hall over there. But okay, so here's the dilemma. The hash browns are the best part of breakfast. And the reason the hash browns are the best is because they don't live in a vacuum. The cubes live in a vacuum. You just eat them separately, but the hash browns commingle. They get in with the yolk. They bleed into other things. They're social, man. They're butterflies. They're out there making the scene, you know?
Breakfast is the most local knowledge meal. Like, you need somebody local to tell you where's the breakfast joint, because you cannot, otherwise, like you said, you'll eat like in the hotel, or they'll have some place with the, big fancy breakfast or this or that, but you need that local joint that people go to. And breakfast is the best meal on the road. I think because when I'm home, I don't have time to go sit down and have breakfast somewhere. And when you're on the road, there's nothing else to do. You got your morning open, so you can go sit down, have breakfast, kick back. But you got to have a local place. And the worst is when you go to breakfast at some, whatever, like you say, let's say a cute potato place. And then on the way back, you see the local spot.
Should have gone there. So I'm in Malibu sort of halftime, and there's no such thing as hash browns in Malibu, because if you go to rich white neighborhoods, they're above hash browns.
Too lowbrow.
Hash browns are for the little people. I really mean it. It's a political thing. It's for the unwashed masses. It's not. If you stopped everyone in Malibu and went, you don't want fucking squares of potatoes, like potatoes just chopped up like dice. You'd rather have hash browns. I go, but those are that's for the bourgeoisie. Those are the peasants. That's for the little people. So it doesn't exist. And it's not an option, which is my argument. You're allowed to have passion fruit iced tea for the homicidal fucking maniacs who had their taste buds destroyed by COVID. They can order, but you must have a regular iced tea option. You're allowed to have cube potatoes or new potatoes or purple potatoes, but you must first have hash browns. Then if people want to go wild after that, they're fucking cube potatoes, let them do it, but I want it. So here's the dilemma. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
There's a place up the street from the hotel that Mike and I ate at several years ago when I was in San Francisco, and we even walked on the way to the club. We went, oh, that's the place, because that place was picked out because they have hash browns. But when I use my American Express card and check in a hotel, I get $100. $100 toward anything in the hotel. Now, that includes the restaurant. Now, it's Saturday, and Mike and I are leaving at the crack of fuck on Sunday, and then I'll be at the club all night. So I got this $100.
You got to burn through it.
I got to spend the $100, but we're only going to eat one meal at the hotel, and it's going to be breakfast. But I know, because we're in San Francisco and we're in a cool guy hotel, that it's got to be the fucking cube potatoes, and it cannot be the hash browns. But I go, fuck it, I got this $100. We're going to go spend it, and of course we get the cubed potatoes. And it sounds like a bizarre obsession, but it diminishes my breakfast experience by 50%, not having the hash brown.
So let me ask you this. Why can't you do an afternoon before the show meal with your $100 credit?
I can, but then I'm just getting a sandwich. I want, or burger. I want breakfast. So as I was complaining to Mike, eating the cube, you try to do with the cube potatoes what you do with the sliced, or I should say grated, with the hash browns, where you try to commingle it a little bit, but the piece of omelet falls off it. It just doesn't work. It's just like egg, then potato.
It's not the right surface area.
It's not right. And it has no nuance, because when you're doing the hash browns, you go, ooh, I get the crispy part on the top of the edge. I got kind of the milky part in the middle. I can get a little of that milk, get some of that ketchup going, a little Tabasco on the milk. Doesn't exist. But then I start thinking, and I do this with everyone, I go, is there a large group of people that want their potatoes in cubes versus hash browns? Because I don't think there are. But we did a Twitter poll, and we did a staff poll. And a staff poll. Alonzo, you're on hash browns.
Yeah, I'm for hash browns. In that situation, that is a tough one because you have the hotel credit. But I'm probably going to go out and get a good breakfast and then do the burger or whatever before the show. And I got to leave some credit I hate leaving it on the table, but I got to leave some on the table.
Well, you order a couple of martinis, and that'll burn it off pretty fast.
Or you can order like potato chips, but from room service, and that'll be $100. That'll be $12 for the potato chips and an $85 service charge.
Yeah, destination fees not included. All right, our staff poll was what?
Our staff poll is 100% on the side of hash browns. Are hash browns harder to make? Is that why? Because
no,
they're shredded.
There's no way Denny's would do just hash browns if they were more expensive and harder to cook, because they're charging $4 for breakfast, and B, the guys cooking are ex-cons that do not speak English.
So they can pull it off.
These aren't Michelin-rated chefs back here.
Well, I think that's the problem, though. It's a Michelin chef at the high-end restaurant or the hotel. He doesn't want to cook the same thing as the Denny's guy, as the Waffle House guy.
My grandpa used to call this jacking off into a ceiling fan. This is just you guys not wanting to spin your wheels and not be like the other guys. That's all it is, because nobody enjoys it more. That's what I'm saying. And it's not cheaper and it's not easier.
Okay.
All right. So now we're 100%. Everyone in this building.
Yeah. Team hash brown.
Who are the people who like them cubed? And by the way, it's always the same thing. I do the same thing. I go, I got the fucking cubed potatoes. And I go, all right, well, trying to cut back on the carbs and the starch anyway. I finish them. I always finish them. Mike and I are fighting over the last cube, but I didn't enjoy it. Now it's just empty carbs at this point.
And I don't like with cubed or potato wedges, you can kind of realize how many potatoes you're eating. You can kind of do that math.
Right. First, all I have is an order of hash browns. Yeah. Some of those hash browns take over the whole plate.
I think the people eating them are the same people who do the whole food as artwork thing, and on whatever level, and they start describing the flavors in terms of colors and this and that. You ever get that and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I don't even know. Like,
you just said it was as pleasing to the palate as it was to the eye, and I'm like, what? I want hash browns, bitch.
And they're not gonna have some potatoes that are just mashed up all together on the plate.
It's snobbery. It's snobbery of the highest order.
Yeah,
it's like, look.
And here's the thing: if you take them to the breakfast joint, they'll think it's an adventure, but they'll love it.
Here's what it is. They'll go, look, what would a Trump voter prefer? And the answer is hash browns. So let's not be in with the bag of deplorables. Well, let's get our new potatoes. I like the word new.
I'll give you the
purple potatoes.
I'll give you your Malibu secret, Adam. Food truck. Food truck breakfast burrito. Absolutely going to have hash browns in it. There's not going to have.
Do I summon them to my home?
No, they're out there because somebody's working.
All right, so we're 100% here for hash browns in this building.
Yeah.
I told everyone here, it's without impunity. Feel free, speak freely. I will not judge you. I will take note of the fact that
they're
you
afraid.
Right.
You've got a cute potato guy here.
Potatoes in here.
All right, cute potato guys. Now's your chance.
If you're gay and or like cube potatoes, I will not judge. Now is your time to come out of the closet. And
I'm one of the two.
All right, what is the Twitter poll? We just put it up 10 minutes ago. But
so we have over 1,700 votes. It is 77% are hash browns.
Okay, 77%.
Yeah, 23% cube potatoes.
I'm still disappointed that it's not into the 80s. I will say there are human beings that are just incapable of answering polls. Like they'll go, no, they are. Like they'll go, well, where are we eating? And you just go cubed or hash, right. And they go, well, some places make a good cube, and I go, just cubed or hash, just cubed or hash.
The way we put it up was, which breakfast food do you prefer, cubed potatoes or hash browns?
Right.
It's pretty simple.
All right, 77% to 23%. With that in mind, why is it impossible to find this? That's my point.
You listening, San Francisco hotels?
And by the way, if you liked cubed potatoes over hash browns, then fuck you. You don't like breakfast or America. I don't even think you like this country, bitch.
Now, with that, do you really think anyone on staff is going to say cubed potatoes? Do you think anyone here who likes their job, if there's one thing they're not going to be like, hey, man, don't let the boss see you with those cubed potatoes?
I like to think that I've created an environment, Alonzo, that lets staff members speak freely.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So
I like anything hash.
anything hash. Yeah. That's right. Anything.
hash.
The drugs.
Yeah.
All hash. Anything that has the word hash.
Bring it on over.
I even like hash marks in football. Like,
Yeah.
I'll take hash anything. I'll even take stash, like suck a
Things that rhyme with hash? Sure.
Succotash hash.
I'll take tash or hash.
All ashes.
All right. So your new rules, you're allowed to have your cubed potatoes that nobody wants, but you must have hash browns first. Some people give you a choice. That's fine.
Yeah.
Let the insane people get the cubed potatoes.
Yeah,
but
some
they'll never
places
order.
will be you want hash browns or home fries.
Right.
And then you get into what's the difference between a home fry and a French fry.
I don't even know. No one has clearly defined a home fry.
Exactly.
I
It's
don't know what
broad.
it is. Some go gratin, you know,
Which
stuff.
is great. I like those.
I do, but hash browns first and foremost.
Yeah, if they say they have home fries, you really don't know what you're getting.
The only heartbreak of the hash browns is inevitably when you do go to a place that has hash browns, the person you're eating with gets a huge portion of them and you get a dinky sized portion of them that's a little burnt and you go, was this what was left from his portion? Like, because they don't all come out evenly. Like, they don't weigh them, they don't throw a tape on them, they don't have a template. It's just some of the guys in the back get a little happy handed and you get that big old pile and then there's yours.
I thought what you were going to say is the soggy hash brown. Like there's a perfect level of crisp, and sometimes they're underdone and they're like soft. Like
They get a little
they're
milky.
like the middle, but it's on top, and you're like, nah, you didn't do it. You know?
It's the dance. You got to have a certain amount of crisp and brown and a certain amount of milk and white.
Your chef has to have been in jail just long enough.
Just long enough to master the hash browns. All right, now maybe is this possible? Is this possible? Maybe this is possible. Maybe this is the explanation. Maybe the highfalutin places don't have a griddle. They have pans and burners, but they don't have the griddle.
No, they have
Maybe the griddle is what you need for the hash brown. I'm trying to help. That's all. I'm trying to help.
They have it. They probably clean it too often.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't get that
that flavor.
burn.
Got to have a little
flavor
patina on it.
Right.
Sweat,
But,
yeah.
All right.
yeah, they have the.
So you're 1 for 1 in the hash browns department. Now the
All
next
right.
challenge is the Lou Reed challenge. Now it's a low percentage that a brother would enjoy Lou Reed or the Velvet Underground, which I hate. But he graces the top 10 lists of all, or top 100 lists of all Rolling Stone magazines all the time. And I will say that Lou Reed is much like the cubed potatoes. Nobody likes them, but the hipsters feel compelled to
Right.
serve him up to you. He's constantly being served up because every hipster and every cool dude I've ever met is like, oh yeah, Lou Reed. Oh
Rock
yeah,
and
Lou Reed.
roll.
But Lou Reed sucks and his music sucks. And he can't sing. But they love him because he's cool.
He's one of those guys that if I heard the song, I'd recognize the song, but I have no idea who he is.
Well, okay.
Okay.
Remember?
Play something and give me an idea of who he is.
Well, you play Take a Walk on the Wild Side, I guess we'll find. Okay, that's his biggest hit. Can I offer this up? I've been yelled at a few times for explaining that, here's a thought experiment. I've been yelled at for saying if AOC was fat and in her 60s, we wouldn't give a shit about anything she ever said ever. No one would be listening to her. If she was some frumpy middle-aged chick from Minnesota who'd made her way to Congress, we would not be hanging on her every breath to see what her opinion was about anything because she's an imbecile and she says idiotic things, and we listen because of her aesthetic. Lou Reed, thin, cigarette hanging, wearing the aviator sunglasses all the time. What if Lou Reed was a fat dude? Like double chin, male pattern baldness, a little red hair.
Sweaty.
Get rid of the cigarette, get rid of the aviators. Just a fat dude. Would we go Lou Reed? Oh, I fucking love Lou Reed. No, we would
He
not.
wouldn't be as renowned as
If Lou Reed was Lou Pearlman, we would never listen to that Lou. Lou
Tale
Pearlman,
of Two Lou's.
both losers, by the way. I would argue that Lou Reed caused more damage than Lou Pearlman, who is the pedophile guy who managed the boy bands, out of Florida. But if Lou Reed was Lou Pearlman, then we'd never hear a song ever played. But so then we went over the list of 250 best guitar players from Rolling Stone yesterday, and it escaped all of us. Lou Reed, who does not know how to play guitar, had cracked the top 100 at number 89. And then Rolling Stone, what they do is they go, here's some examples of Lou Reed's guitar prowess. And the very first song they put on, they told me to listen to, I went and listened to. So this is what Lou Reed sounds like. As an example from Rolling Stone of why we should appreciate his guitar magic. Rolling Stone couldn't make a list of greatest NFL shutdown cornerbacks without shoving Lou Reed onto that list. They can't make a list. If they made greatest female pop bands, Lou Reed would be in that. Every single list they make has deadliest viruses. Lou Reed. Like every best economy car, Lou Reed. Every list they make has Lou Reed on it because they love Lou Reed, even though they can't defend Lou Reed because this is their example of Lou Reed.
Yeah,
this is the number one. Hey, Rolling Stones, Rolling Stone magazine. Why do you love Lou Reed again? Why is he a great guitar player?
Now he edged out Joe Satriani and Mark Knopfler.
Their list is completely null and void. You put Lou Reed, a guy who can't play the guitar, on your list of guitar heroes, and he beat out Joe Satriani and people who are amazingly proficient at guitar playing. So that was that.
So is it just a popularity thing? Like we like Lou Reed, everyone likes Lou Reed, so Lou Reed won.
There's something
cool to like Lou Reed.
Lou Reed. Okay, did you? Hercules is out there.
He's upset about Lou Reed.
Yeah.
Even he's like, would you turn that guitar off?
I bet if you took Hercules and you put a plate of hash browns on one side of the room and a plate of cubed potatoes on the other, I bet he would have enough sense to go for the hash browns.
I'm not sure. Hulk, this is the funniest thing. I have a 160-pound dog that's a picky eater.
Oh.
There are times when he'll look at the food, he'll sniff it and be like, nope, not doing it. Not
Really?
And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, okay, well, you'll be hungry this afternoon, when it comes back, because it ain't sitting out here all day. Yes, very, very strange thing. But yeah, I think he'd be a hash brown guy.
He's not thinking ahead.
He's thinking.
Adam,
he's
Billy
going
Gibbons, 102. Number 102 on this list.
Nobody thinks Lou Reed is good, Rolling Stone. You just have to say it.
What is it, 200? List of 200?
250.
Who's number 250?
Andy Summers from the Police.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lou Reed.
Wow, really?
Lou Reed beat him out.
By the way, this song is 14 minutes.
So maybe he shreds at minute 12. We don't know.
Let's go ahead and go forward. Now we are at minute 12. Going on to minute 13.
All right, here's.
All right, if he's in the top 100, I'm number 250.
Yeah, you would make that list.
You
could learn to play
taking spot number
you could
250.
learn to play the guitar this afternoon and crack the top 250.
Yeah.
By the way, you said that no one mentioned it yesterday. I did chime in at one point. You did miss it. I did chime in and say Lou Reed at 89.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I know that because somebody tweeted me that just cracked them up, that they just heard it.
Oh, I wish I'd heard that. Sorry. Or I wish you'd repeated it because I clearly blew right past Lou Reed. So Rolling Stone doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. We have another thought experiment.
All right.
I think Rolling Stone got corrupted, and I think they got woke, and it fucked up all their shit.
You think?
I know. So everyone got woke and they got corrupted and it fucked everything up for everyone. So I was thinking about that, but it's like, how do you make that point? Because the top 250 or the top 100, it's all filled with chicks now. They didn't have any. In the past, I was like, the Guitar Heroes,
Yeah.
So I was thinking about it, and I thought, well, they must have come out with a list from before, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. They must have come out with these lists all the time. Where were these virtuoso guitar-playing women, if they're in fact that? Where were they on the list from 2007?
They did.
Hold on, we'll figure it out. I'm teasing. We also got some Hobo Power to play, too. Someone's calling in. We'll take a quick break, come back with Alonzo, and we'll do that right after this. What's the perfect roommate? Well, let's see. Who comes when you call? Who doesn't forget to lock doors? Who doesn't steal your milk a little at a time and hope you don't notice? I think we know the answer to that. At Apartments.com, they understand when it comes to roommates, a pet can be your best bet. They're easygoing, eat what you serve, and never clog the toilet. Apartments.com, the most pet-friendly rental listings on the internet, and instant alerts the moment your perfect pet-friendly place becomes available. When you need a place that's pet-friendly and human-tolerant, check out Apartments.com. That's Apartments.com, the place to find your pet-friendly place. That's why Alonzo's the best. Saginaw, Michigan, coming up Dow Event Center, October 25th, and then shows all over the place, man, at AlonzoBodden.com. All right, so my argument with Rolling Stone and my argument with the Academy Awards and the Emmys and many other these big events is they got woke, and when they got woke, they started adjusting the list. Like somebody said, well, we did a list of best guitar players, and there's no women on it. So, and by the way, all the other orders changed behind Jimi Hendrix. He's never going out at number one because A, he's a fantastic guitar player, and B, he's black. Rolling Stone can't demote a brother from number one.
No, he's Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix is beyond that. No, that you can't. The black thing ain't Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix is Jimi Hendrix. Like that's one where you can ask all the great guitar players, and they're all like, "Yeah, Jimi Hendrix."
All right, but let's do an experiment, brother.
Mm-hmm.
If you took Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits and you made him black, and you took Jimi Hendrix and you made him look like Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits, I bet you that Mark Knopfler would be shoved up to the top because that's the way Rolling Stone works. I'm not saying Jimi Hendrix isn't the greatest guitar player ever. Right. I'm saying he'll never drop from the number one spot.
Okay, I don't know about Rolling Stone because I don't really give a shit about Rolling Stone, right?
Well, you've been talking about it for 40 minutes. Your obsession with Hash Browns and Rolling Stone.
I've been fortunate enough to be around phenomenal musicians, right? Because I work with jazz guys, and they're the best musicians you're going to find. And it's one thing I found out really quick. They don't really give a shit what you look like. It is 100% can you play. They don't care.
Rolling Stone does.
Black,
that's
white,
Rolling
male,
Stone,
female.
Rolling Stone
well, that's what I'm
does.
saying.
That's
I don't know what's going on with Rolling Stone, but when you start trying to move Jimmy out of number one, you're right. They would never do it, but I don't think maybe that's the one they got right.
Well, it's probably win-win for Jimmy and his legacy. They can never drop him out, and he's the best. Yeah. But okay, I'm saying if you do my thought experiment with Mark Knopfler though and Jimmy, all right. But this is Rolling Stone.
Yeah. Okay.
And so what they did is, I said to Chris, "Do you have a top 100 guitar players from an earlier date, like 10 years ago?" 15 years ago, the Rolling Stone, because Rolling Stone is putting together a list of the best guitar players. Top 100 from 2010?
2007, it was 15 years ago.
2007.
Oh, well, why does my thing say 2010?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Because you said 2007.
I did, yeah. It is
you said
2007, so 15, 16 years ago. All right. How many women were on 16 years ago, according to Rolling Stone?
Okay. Let me just ask you, how many women were in the top 10? Take a guess.
I'm going to go at one.
In 2007.
In 2007.
Well, let's reset a little bit. So for Alonzo, right now there are two women in the top 10. Joni Mitchell's at number 9, and then number 6 is sister Rosetta Tharpe, who they started her description with as a sexually fluid black woman.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. So
But yeah,
are they talking about strictly their guitar playing or the performer, like the full-on performance?
it's
I don't know. Whatever you
200
think of as
greatest
guitar
guitarist list.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what was her name, sister
Rosetta
what-
Tharpe.
Yeah.
Well,
I
she's
don't,
sexually
so I can't-
fluid, so that's going to help.
Yeah,
I hear
can't
she's a
speak
legend.
on that one.
All right.
But anyway, so how many were on? 10?
You're guessing.
I'm
Take a
guessing
guess.
one. I'm guessing one.
I'm going 0.
Chris?
Oh,
In 2007, you already looked.
I know the answer,
In
yeah.
2007, there were no women on Rolling Stones in the top 10 of the list of the 100 greatest. How many were in the top 25? How many women made the top 25 in 2007?
Well, how many made it in 2023?
Six made it in 2023.
Alonzo?
I'm
gonna
sorry,
go-
not 20. I'm sorry. Let's just go top 50. I wrote my numbers wrong.
Okay.
All right.
In the top 50, there were 6 now in 2023. How many were there?
How many in
2007?
07 and top 50? All right, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say 2.
I'm going back to 0 because they didn't get their marching orders yet in terms of what they have to do with their list.
Have they not heard of Joni Mitchell?
You're right. Joni had to have made it then, right?
Top 50 guitarists, according to Rolling Stone magazine in 2007. 0 of them were women.
What?
See this
Rolling
Wow.
Stone.
This
what
is problematic.
happened? Well, what about Moms Mabley and Joni Mitchell? What-
They didn't exist. In fact, I will tell you this, that in 2007, the list of the top 100 guitarists of all time, as stated by Rolling Stone magazine, included how many women? How many women in the top 100?
Oh,
Still
man.
going 0 because
Yeah, I got to go. Okay, I'm on board.
they didn't
0.
get their marching orders yet.
2.
Oh, all right. Who were
But-
they?
Joni Mitchell at 72.
Oh, she bumped. Man,
She
she
big,
cracked
big
the top
jump.
10.
She's at number 9 now.
Do you have a song on Stranger Things or something? what happened?
And Joan Jett.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
In 2007, she was
Yuck.
number
Okay.
87, and now she's number 76.
She's
Let's
moving
add
up.
more guitarists, and she moves up.
so.
So wait. So let me ask you this before we go on. 'Cause wasn't there a guy at Rolling Stone who said something like black people can't have an opinion?
Yeah.
Or something like. So was
He was
this
like
the
co-founder.
guy?
Black. He used the
Right.
word articulate,
Right.
which was a problem.
So was this the same guy doing these lists?
No,
Or
he's-
was it under his, like, was he in charge back then or no?
His-
Jan Winter.
Yeah, Jan Wenner. His son is now the CEO of Rolling Stone. He's
Okay.
no longer.
But I mean in 07 when these lists had like no women or no, but was he the guy?
Yeah, I think he was the guy.
Okay.
He
so I
ran
mean
the
that tells us
publication.
a lot because when you say like Motown couldn't articulate music, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, so we got you. So in your world, Stevie Wonder doesn't crack the top 10 or whatever, you know what I mean? So
So it says
How
Jan
many
Stink on it.
in the
this
top
would
100?
be the opposite of what you're saying about woke changing the list. If this guy was in charge of the list, he's whatever the opposite of that is. Right?
I hate defending this guy because I hate Jan. I think he was left in 07. It was just a meritocracy. You just pick whoever you thought was the best guitar player. I mean, Jimi Hendrix would be number 1 in 07,
Yeah.
too. It was a meritocracy. At a certain point, it became like the Academy Awards, where somebody said, hey, man, we have some inclusion. We got to be more diverse here. So, because in 2023, how many women altogether made it? That's the question. We know what the answer was 16 years ago. It was 2 made the top 100. In 2023, how many altogether? Because that's the real metric that we need to focus on. And then the question would be, where did these women come from that all of a sudden got so good at guitar
Right,
when many
like-
of them are dead? But many of them are old blues singers that are gone. Where did the revelation come from,
Right.
Rolling Stone?
Right. I could understand putting people on the list who weren't around back then. Like her is she's a great artist, great guitar player.
Yeah.
So if she makes the list, you're like, yeah, in 07, I think she was 5 years old. So,
Right.
They
That
did
would
include a lot more
explain that.
modern.
But the old, like you're right, the old blues players that they were around back then, how were
They
they
were
not
dead
on the
by
list?
then.
Right.
Right.
So who found them?
Somebody told them there were too many dudes on this list. All right, so the total number from modern era Rolling Stone,
This might take a few minutes because they
Top-
haven't.
top 100. I should have told you.
I
to
can
do
give you
this,
top
or you could
100.
have figured it out. But
I
go
can give
ahead.
you a top 100.
Well, Dawson, the only reason you should have done this homework is because you gave us the other number.
I know, but
We got
all of these
two.
are listed as 45 people per page. So you got to go through page and page and page and then count.
Yeah, I mean before this, but go ahead. All right.
In the top 100 this year in 2023, there are 11 so far. I just got to get down to 50.
Down to 50.
So
I'm
11
counting
of
from
the top
100 down to
50?
50 because at 50 there were 6.
Oh,
And I'm
I
up
see.
to 11 now.
So you got 11 for the top 50, but 2 for the top 100 of 07?
07, there were 2 in the top 100.
And now in the top
I've seen
100.
Bonnie
There are
Raitt in the
6
top 100.
in the top 50 from this year.
Oh, okay.
And now the number is 12.
All right. So they've added 10 more women to the list. Where did they come from? Half of them are dead.
how would Bonnie Raitt not be there in 07, though?
They totally diss Bonnie Raitt in 07.
Yeah, how would Bonnie Raitt not, like, that's not,
Well, she
that's
just
not
won
a gift.
She
you
just
know?
won a Grammy, like surprisingly over a bunch of pop stars last year. So maybe she has a little more heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is my woke
Well, this
list
is the thing.
argument.
Yeah,
That's my point. I don't trust Rolling Stone anymore. I don't
Right,
think
these
they
lists.
think Lou Reed is any good. And I don't think these women are on this list because of their guitar prowess, even though they're all great at the guitar.
Yeah.
But you went out and found them and padded your list out. That's all. And that's why we can no
That's
longer
like
count on you
Your
for
top
lists.
10 rappers. Hey, let's throw in a white guy. Come
Yeah.
on now. Come on now.
Yeah.
Stop it.
How's it feel?
Eminem.
How's it feel?
Eminem always makes the list.
Oh yeah,
And I will never know enough about rap to know who's good and who
We're
isn't.
even on Lou Reed. 'cause
is
I got
Eminem a good
nothing.
rapper? Do you consider him a
Yeah,
good rapper?
Eminem's a great rapper. He's a great storyteller, but he's not like a party guy. Like, and I forgot who pointed it out, but somebody pointed out. They said, "Yeah, Eminem's a great rapper, but you don't hear Eminem at the club because people don't. You know what I mean? It's not like a dance thing.
Oh,
or,
right.
You know, but no, Eminem. You can't argue with that. Eminem's
Yeah.
a great rapper. You know,
Top 10, though?
I don't know.
He's top 10
but
to
you know
me.
why? You know why I say I don't know? Because I'm old school in rap. So there's like a whole generation of mumble rap that I couldn't tell you who's what or whatever. And then you throw Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion in, and I'm not even listening. I'm like, did they rap something? Because I was just looking. I was just watching. I didn't hear anything.
Have you ever heard the Rams football team rap?
Not good.
So it's not good if I go, my name is Adam and I'm here to say
that was-
I
you know-
do podcasting in an interesting way.
You know who
That's
did
'cause-
that? You know who was the first to do that? The Bears.
The Bears,
Remember
yeah.
when the Bears did
Everyone
it?
Yeah.
came up
Wasn't
with a
good
rap,
then.
but it was always ba 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 and a ba 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 ba.
But
That
here-
is every rap.
Here's the other thing. If you have what's a roster 53? So if you have 53 guys between 200 and 350 pounds rapping, they're good. Yeah, I'm gonna go with them.
Oh,
know?
you could do Ram It. Ram It was the name of the song. You could do Ram It.
That was like
That
when
was-
Shaq rapped for
He considers himself the
about a
greatest
year.
athlete rapper of all time.
about a year and a half, and that
Shaq
you know,
Fu.
yeah.
He considers himself a great rapper.
Yeah, well, he considers himself a lot of things, but there's there are some who were real. Is it Dame?
Dame
I think Dame Lillard
he
is actually
raps.
talented.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not that Shaq's untalented, but it's not rap. It's Shaq rapping. You know what I mean? Like it's because you're Shaq. This is fun.
I would venture to say, just from the looks of the roster, that they could come out with a much better team song now than back in the 80s.
You would hope.
They had Doug Fensick out there for the Bears or Nolan Cromwell for the Rams trying to rap. The guys who went to Colgate and were a little too slow to be in the league, but out-hustled everyone at practice. You know, I think now, just judging by the looks and the hairstyles, they could pull this off. All right, we got some Hobo Power to play.
Yeah, we got a caller.
Do we have an intro?
Yeah.
Don't we? For that?
It's time for Hobo Power, Adam's unit of stink measurement.
Beautiful song. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear them lonesome hobos call.
You give us your stink story, and we'll rank the funk.
Yeah.
Jerry Reed at number 198 on this current list of
That was
Rolling
Jerry
Stone.
Reed.
That's Jerry Reed.
From Smoking the Bandit.
That's the Snowman.
That's the Snowman, Jerry Reed. All right. So, Hobo Power, Alonzo. The origins of Hobo Power. It's a unit of stink measurement. I came up with it many, many years ago when I was on MTV and probably on K-Rock Radio, which is to say that we have a unit for measurement. We have BTUs and we have horsepower and leagues and we have millions of different measurements, but no stink measurement. All we got is, oh, that was so rank, or ugh. Yeah. But Hobo Power is an actual unit of measurement. Now, 0 smells like nothing. 100, if you get to 100, it's hypothetical. I mean, you're dead. It will kill you.
They've been dead.
No one has
100 would be a hobo who's been laying around dead for a while.
Nobody has experienced homeless 100% and lived to talk about it.
Purely theoretical.
This is like that hot chip you eat that kills you, right?
Yes.
50%
is a cat that's been fed nothing but blue cheese, taking a dump on a white-hot hibachi and the plume that comes off of that. That's 50.
That feels like 100, but...
but no one's experienced 100.
Yeah.
Man,
if you want to get to 30%, you have to have dry heaved into your mouth or just booted, okay? If you don't boot, I'm not giving you over 30. All right, we got David from Pinehurst, North Carolina. It's on line 1. David?
Eighth man.
Hey, man. You got a Hobo Power story?
100% respect to you, Adam. Love your work.
Thank you. What do you got? What's the story?
All right. I'll tell the story, but I'm going to apologize to your listeners first because it's horribly disgusting. That's true.
It's our fault because every time I do this, someone tells me the most disgusting story in the world, and I go, of course it is. Like, what was I asking for?
Yeah, nothing that smells that bad is going to be a pretty story.
Mm-hmm.
The rose rotted.
Well, let's get into it. So this is in 1980. I was a third-year medical student doing my clinical rotation in obstetrics and gynecology. And I was working
Off
in the
to a bad start.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the job was to do pelvic exams on the new moms. They give birth. They come back to the clinic a month later, and you just check to see that you do a pelvic exam, see that everything's healing properly, and send them on their way. So as a young medical student, I was quite experienced with pelvic. Really interesting experience there. But I did several of them, and then I walked into a patient's room, and I got just hit with an overwhelming gag-inducing smell. It was just horrible. It was sour, extremely strong, rotten, gagging extensively. I did not throw up, so if that limits my score, so be it.
Okay.
But it was horrible. I'd smelled other bad stuff. I lived in Florida, and there was a rotting dog by the side of the road that they didn't pick up. Every day in the summer, walking by the rotting dog, didn't touch this smell. This was just way worse. Anyway, so I go to patient smell. Decided doing the pelvic exam. Patient's already up in stirrups. That's the way they did it. And so you just pull back the sheet and do it. So I pull back the sheet and I take the speculum and I insert it into a vagina and I spread it the way you are supposed to. And the smell just starts getting worse. It's clearly coming inside her, this woman. And I get down real close because you got to in order to see down with a light. I take a pen light and I shining it down there looking for a cervix. And I was looking for, healthy pink tissue. And instead I see this white, fibrous something. I couldn't tell what kind of crosshatch, and it was all mucoid and, horrible. So I got out and I needed to breathe anyway, and I went and got the attending physician. This guy's done 30,000 pelvics. I mean, he's an experienced physician. He goes in, he takes one look, he says, "Follow me," and hauls me out into the hallway. And he said, "This is a case of gauze that was mistakenly left in the patient when she gave birth. She must have been bleeding or something, and they've left it, and it's now been in her vagina for a month. And you have to remove it."
I would just jump on that bitch's stomach. I would say, "Hold your nose. I'm going to jump on your stomach. We're going to shoot it across the room."
Pop it out. Weirdly, I'm a cute potatoes guy now.
And so I go back in, and I'm gagging the whole time. And I reach in with a forceps, and just grab the gauze, and I start to pull it out. And it comes out, and I've got a metal bowl. I put it down between her legs, like kind of below us, so that as I'm pulling out the gauze, I can just feed it into the bowl. And I pull out a foot of it, and the smell is getting worse as the surface area increases. It's getting more and more intense, and I'm pulling it out, and it just keeps coming. It was like a horrible magic show where you're just pulling, and the stink is increasing, and it's piling up in this bowl. It's a foot high, and I'm still pulling. I didn't think it was ever going to end. It was horrible. Anyway, we did eventually get it all out and cleaned up the patient and sent her home. But I have to say, 67 years old, I've never smelled anything worse. I don't think you have either.
No, you know what, David? I'm going to break my own rule, and I'm going to give you above a 30.
Yeah, if I vomit, will this increase the score?
Because of your constitution and because of your training, you do not have the gag reflex that the common man has. But if this were a normal, common person, they would have booted.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
Well, you know how I knew how bad it was? When he started the story with, it was 1980.
Yeah.
If you can remember a smell from 43 years ago, that is a smell. I mean, he specifically remembered when it had. That's
and
God.
You have to be traumatized because you're like a young woman who was in a Nazi prisoner of war camp or in a concentration camp would smell the cologne. Even she's in her 90s now, would know the cologne of the guard.
It's traumatizing.
If she smelt it now, she would break down in tears, right? Yes, that's what this is. You've been traumatized.
I was traumatized.
Did her lawyer take that gauze into court for the malpractice?
Oh my God!
So, Your Honor, here's you win.
Oh, wow! Is she ever? Now she would have sued the hospital, right?
Yeah,
or the clinic.
Totally.
But how did she not know? Like, how long did she have this in and not know? Like,
well, like if I had a roll of toilet paper up my ass, I would know.
Yeah,
that's me.
After the first week, you got to notice that the dog's following you around a little too much.
Wow, that's solid, David.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you a 41.
Oh,
yeah, because
congratulations,
it was repugnant.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounded like a 40.
Well deserved.
Well deserved,
man. It
All
was
right.
1980. I was a young med student. Like, you could stop right there.
That's his Niagara Falls. He knows you can't say it in front of him. Yeah. All right, we got Hollywood Hand-Me-Downs, which is a game we like to play, but this is a different version.
Different
of it.
spin.
A lot of celebrities offered up experiences to raise money for the writers. And
I read about that.
I did too. Go out to lunch with the guys from whatever. I want to know what these things got bid up to, what the experience was, and then Alonzo and I are going to both guess, or maybe Chris is.
I'm not going to guess. I wrote the games
Alonzo
up.
and I are both going to guess to see what that number got to. I just got invited to a Bryan Cranston poker game to raise money for actors. So
You got to go to that, right?
yeah, I got to go, but I'm no good at poker. I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Could play, but I'm not good at it.
Did they give you a buy-in on that, or they just want you to show up?
They basically said the first round is on us, and then we ask you to be generous after that. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted. I don't even know if I'm in town, but that's in the beginning of November somewhere.
If you want to play like a house game with us, warm me up.
Oh, yeah,
down.
you play. All right, quick break. Back with Alonzo, and we'll do that right after this. The Jordan Harbinger Show, a different kind of sponsor for this episode. The Jordan Harbinger Show. Well, if you're a fan of fascinating podcasts and interesting people, you should definitely check this one out. There's an episode for everyone, no matter what you're into. Jordan talks with Scott Adams about persuasion in a world where facts don't matter anymore. Man, is he right. Or you go inside the dark world of wildlife trafficking. You'll always find something useful to apply to your own life, like routine changes to boost productivity or slight mindset tweaks that change how you see the world. Jordan's a good guy. We've had him on many times. I know the man well, and he's worth a listen. We enjoy the show, and we know you will too. So you can search The Jordan Harbinger Show. That is HARB as in boy, IN as in Nancy, GER on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Eighth Man was driving in the car the other day. Lick It Up came on the radio. I immediately turned it off. Worst song on the planet. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Lick It Up is the most insulting song ever written lyrically. I mean, insulting not to women, but insulting to the band Kiss, that they would even sit down by then as a bunch of guys in their late 30s and early 40s and sit down and write Lick It Up 700 times on a steno pad.
You think you're ready to lick it up? I got some gauze from 1980.
Lick It Up is bad, but as I was telling Chris, what were my two songs? There was the Poison song.
And Lita Ford.
Which is
It was Talk Dirty to Me and Kiss Me Deadly or something.
Talk Dirty to Me is a horrible, 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 insulting song, and it's why I hate 80s hair band music. It is like if you said to me, why do you hate 80s hair band music? I would say, listen to this song, and that's why I hate any version of this. But Kiss Me Deadly was okay. Well, you can find this. Oh, sorry, new stats, Dawson, from Rolling Stone.
All right, so I've gone through all 250, and my count may be off by one or two. But let's just start with the year 2007, the top 100 guitarists. Two of them were women, 2 of 100, 2% of the sample. In 2023, a staggering 49 of 250 made the top 250 list. That is an increase of 1,000% in 15 years. 20% of the list is women now.
Right. But the top 100 is still 11 or whatever, right?
I forget what I said.
All right. But listen, we're trying to do 100 to 100. That's all I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, well, we already did that.
Well, you said
That's
11
what we
or
did in
12.
the last break.
You were counting in real time, so I didn't know if we had a true and accurate number. But yeah.
No, yeah, we ended that last segment with what was 100, and I didn't write it down. I just continued to count.
That's why they're doing 250. I mean, 250 is a weird number to.
They got a lot of them bitches at the end.
Right.
You got to pat it out.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, don't listen to their list and do not believe these people. All right. Now the Hollywood hand-me-downs thing. Do we have? So we're gonna wager to see or guess what they paid for those experiences.
Yeah.
All right.
It's time to find out, how much did they pay in another round of Hollywood hand-me-downs?
Okay, so just before the writer's strike ended, celebrities auctioned off exclusive experiences on eBay to raise money for crew members affected by the strike. The auctions closed last month, and we'll guess which each item went for. First one, Adam Scott from Parks and Recreation will walk your dog with you or without you for 1 hour, and you have to be in Los Angeles. How much?
I'll tell you what I would do. I would buy this, and I would get him to walk my dog, but I would keep it super real. I would just say, show up at noon on Monday, and then he would show up at noon on Monday, and I would answer the door wearing sneakers and shorts and a sweatshirt, and he'd say, I'm here to walk your dog. Of course, if you'd like to walk with me, and I'd go, we're cool. And then he'd go, do you have to be somewhere today? And you'd go, no, I'm just pretty much around. He'd go, would you like to walk with me? And I go, no, I just want my dog walked, if that's cool. And he'd
I'm
go,
on a
but
Zoom.
you just paid $7,000. And I'd go, yeah. I got a Zoom coming up. Oh, well, actually, it's not for an hour and a half. What do you got, an hour? Yeah, but sometimes you walk and then you come home and you want to take a nap, and I want to just kind of freshen up for this Zoom call. So I've been out and about today already, so just go do your thing, and I'm just going to head in the kitchen, get myself a coffee, and watch a little Price is Right, because that's kind of my thing for the day. And then I'll just give him the leash. That would be a power move, I think. And then I would stop and I'd go, we probably talked too much already. Just here's the leash.
Now, I don't know what he got, because I offered him $5,000 to walk Hulk while I was doing the show today. So
I announced I would, for $8,000, I would ride Hulk through the neighborhood with a cowboy hat on.
I want to say,
All right, hold on, write it down. We got to write it down, otherwise I could be going off of you.
Right.
Adam Scott, nice guy, not an A-lister, but a good actor, and married my old assistant, Naomi. Let's see. She was assistant for the Man Show.
Seems like he'd be pretty good at walking a dog. Seems simple enough.
Los Angeles kind of limits it a little bit.
Right.
And who knows if there were some ringers in there who just went, look, I'm not going to let this thing stall out at $64.
Right.
I'll fucking bid. I'll bid it up just so it's respectable.
Yeah, Naomi, please.
Naomi probably did it. All right. $4,700.
that's your number? I'm going to use the number you said. I'm going to put it at 7,000, and I'll tell you what, I'm putting an LA bonus on it. There's enough rich people in LA that say, yeah, I'm going to just do this. I'm going to drop seven, to whom $7,000 isn't a lot of money. There are people to whom $7,000 is not a lot of money.
Got to feel like shit.
And they're like, yeah, I'll just do this.
How about the guy got paid $14 to walk Lady Gaga's dog and got fucking shot?
Yeah.
That guy's got to feel like shit.
And then she offered a $500,000 reward for the dogs. Nothing for him.
That's right.
And didn't have to pay it, by the way. But
yeah,
Adam Scott is technically risking his life now that I'm thinking
in
about
LA.
it.
Yeah.
Well, both of your bids have goal-posted what this actually went for, and one of you is $100 closer. Adam Scott walking your dog sold for $5,300. The point goes to Adam.
$5,300.
Okay.
All right.
Next up, take a pottery class with Busy Phillips in New York City for $2. You can improve your pottery skills. So you have to have some basic pottery skills, but you can improve them alongside Busy, the New York Times best-selling author, activist, actor, writer, and previous late-night talk show host of Busy Tonight. The class will take place at a delightful pottery studio in New York City.
Let me say this about Busy Phillips, who I worked with on Dawson's Creek back in the day. There's Hulk. Okay, tell me if you guys have experienced this phenomenon in your life and how upsetting it can be. Busy Phillips is the blonde from Dawson's Creek, been in a million movies.
Right.
And other things as well. Bijou Phillips is the woman who's married to the guy from That 70s Show who's going to do 30 years in
Danny
prison
Masterson's
for rape, right? So somebody said to me during the whole Danny Masterson's thing, she goes, you know, he's married to Busy Phillips. And I said, Busy Phillips? Yeah. I said, he's married. Danny Masterson is married to Busy. He just got 30 years? Yeah, he's married to Busy Phillips. I go, I've never seen a picture of the two together.
Right.
And by the way, I think if he's going to prison for it, and is it his wife standing by him, I'd go, like, I feel like she'd be on TMZ and
I'll get a
shit
ton of press.
for comment. And I go, so 4 times I go, Busy Phillips, really? I mean, I live in this town. I work in this town. I've interviewed her. I've never seen a picture of this. I feel like I would
have put that connection together, yeah.
I'm married to Busy Phillips. And then, of course, a week later, I'm talking to the same person. And they go, yeah, Danny Masterson's in there, and his wife, Bijou Phillips, has been. And I go, well, blah, blah, blah. Bijou Phillips is not Busy Phillips. And they go, yeah, what'd I say? And I go, oh, you said Busy Phillips. Okay, whatever. Anyway, moving on. And I'm like, whatever, moving on. I stopped and broke down and said 8 times, Busy Phillips? Busy Phillips, right. You're married to Busy. As I say to everyone, when I do that, that is your window. That's your time to stop. When Mr. Accurate says something for the 55th time and hands are flying around, you get to stop and go, you know what? Let me check.
Yeah.
Now, because those are 2 different people.
Justice for Busy.
The funny thing about that is we're all carrying around all the information in the world
on
in
our phone.
Right? It's like this is when names are close like that, you pick the wrong one. But if somebody's adamant about arguing it with you, you're like, oh, let's Google it. Right? What is that commercial now that you throw the red flag? Right?
Oh, challenge. Yeah.
Challenge.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's throw a challenge flag and look that one up. So yeah. After your 4th time waving your arms, I'd be like, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, let me throw the challenge flag because this was a woman. I've seen 27 of those insurance commercials. The dude has never been right. Never right and never will be right.
That's the
basically
only thing about the
That's the Rolling Stone list for relationships. That's the only thing. Yes, that is the Rolling Stone list of relationships. The dude will never be right. But anyway, I should have thrown the challenge flag. All right, you're going to go to a Color Me Mine with Bijou?
Do some pottery.
Busy.
Busy.
Wait a minute. Let me Google that.
Yeah. That's going to change the price.
Phillips. And take a pottery class.
Yeah, you can improve your pottery skills.
Okay. I'm not so... I do think some of these may have been cooked a little bit more.
I didn't know she was into pottery. I know Seth Rogen is big into ceramics.
I was a ceramics major in high school. That's the shit.
So you'd be teaching her.
See, you went to fucking high school and learned a skill, Alonzo.
Well, so did you. You learned ceramics.
I learned how to make an ashtray for my grandpa.
It hasn't kicked in yet, but 30 years from now, when you're at the home, that ceramics thing's gonna come back.
you learn.
Get a bowl. You get you a bowl for Christmas made by Adam Carolla.
You learn how to be an airplane mechanic, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Why didn't someone get hold of me and go, we need to teach this fucking guy a skill, not just warehouse him in a ceramics class.
I love that. I love the idea.
All right.
Listen, can we auction off a bowl made by Adam Carolla using
I'd have to go to my grandma's house and see if there's something there. Many of my artistic endeavors from ceramic class no longer exist because I had a big doofus friend named Ray, and we would walk home from school, and when I would attempt to bring the project back after it was put in a kiln and glazed and everything, he'd go, let me see that.
Oh, no.
And then I would go, be careful, because I told my grandpa I was going to give it to him, and he'd go, oh, you're going to give this to your grandpa? In which case, he would toss it in the air. At the beginning, only about 2 feet in the air. Just toss it up and grab it. By the end, he was thrown in there as far as he could throw it, and all I could do was go, no, and then he would grab it, and I'd go, just give it back to me. And he'd go, hold on, whoosh, you'd throw in there, and eventually he would miss, and that would be what became of the project.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's what dudes do to dudes.
That's actually really funny. Him peeing on you, I don't really care for, but tossing your
well, he wouldn't do it at the same time. Although I think he tried a couple of times. See if I can throw this in the air and piss on him and catch the ball. All right. All right, let's write
that
it down.
actually sounds like something Hulk would do. I'm going to piss on it and catch the ball. Yeah, he can do that.
All right. I'm just coming down.
I think I'm underbidding, but I got a number.
All right. I'm going to go $4,200.
I got 3,000.
A pottery class with Busy Phillips went for $5,100. Another point for Ace.
He knows these people.
I know these people
yeah.
well.
Advantage.
Next up, Oscar and Emmy-winning actor John Lithgow will paint a watercolor portrait of your dog. All you have to do is send 4 to 5 photos of your dog. Not fortified, 4 to 5 photos of your dog.
And his assistant will paint your dog.
And allow 1 year for him to complete it. Now, it is explicitly stated that the winner will not meet John Lithgow in person. And the piece is unframed. How much did they pay?
Wow. Don't you feel like John should drop the thing off, or he should get at least a handshake
You
or
should meet
something?
him.
Yeah.
You should meet him.
Yeah. All right. Though that
If you're really looking to raise some money, I mean,
means John's a weirdo, right? There's things you can't meet.
yeah.
He paints dogs.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. All right. Now, if you paint pictures of dogs, you're a weirdo. But if you do them up like a zebra, like you actually paint the dog, then you're back in my good graces. Like we could do Hulk up like a rhino or something. We could paint him up.
Yeah.
People do. I'm not that guy to put a dog in a costume. He wore one Christmas sweater, and I was like, I don't know. And he looked at me like, the hell are we doing? And I was like, yeah, I'm with you.
But the good news about putting an outfit on Hulk is you could just go to the men's department.
You can, yeah. You buy
Marshalls and just get him an actual sweater.
He's a farmer.
You're joking about that, but when he got fixed, when he had his surgery and you had to cover him up, I just gave him one of my T-shirts. Like I just literally put my T-shirt on him, and that fits. Yeah.
All right. Well, this is interesting, and this has some street value. Because theoretically, the pottery experience and the dog walking experience, but, Lithgow dies one day and you have an original of your dog. The 1 year lead time means either you or the dog will be dead by the time this thing is delivered. So I don't like that part. And I don't like the non-meet and greet, because that just means Lithgow's a weirdo. Or Lithgow.
I thought it was Lithgow, too.
Lithgow. Okay. Alonzo, have you given it some thought?
I got 2 numbers that are widely apart. So they say go with your first guess, which I'm going to say is $15,000.
Wow. Wow, that's big. It's an art. It's an art.
Yeah, you get
it's art. I got $8,500 on here.
A watercolor portrait of your dog by John Lithgow went for $9,700. Again, Adam gets the point.
He's killing me on
He's good.
Christ. Yeah, it's a gift.
Now I know this
These
one's going to
people
be
are cheap.
This next one's going to be big for you, Ace. Lena Dunham
Oh, she's such a talent that nobody cares about.
will paint a mural in your home. She's an experienced muralist. Willing to paint for kids or adults, she'll spend an afternoon rendering a custom mural. You give her a subject and some coffee, and she will be on a step stool with creating something you will enjoy having for years and years, or until you move. Offer exclusive to New York, LA, and London.
Wow.
And will take up to 5 hours. How much did they pay?
5-hour mural.
Now that's step stool. They normally have a rating, like 250 pounds or something like that. I'm just saying. You may have to buy. I'm saying, depending on which version of her shows up, you may be out another $700.
You just like people not liking you, don't you? That's just like a bonus for you.
Listen. I work construction. This is a very real issue, Alonzo.
Like, what can I say that they won't like me?
It ain't a popularity contest, and don't get me started on you. All right. Well, you picked a heavy picture of her. She varies, I think, a little bit weight wise. All right.
Okay,
a
she comes to
mural,
your house.
and you pick a theme.
Lithgow won't even meet you. She will come to your house and hang with you for 5 hours and paint on your kid's wall.
All right. But what if your theme, like what if you paid and she came to your house and you're like, my theme is why Last Man Standing got 10 times the ratings of Girls.
You're just going to troll
I
her.
want that sort of put in a mural there. Can you do a Tim Allen crying? All right. Let's see. This is involved. This is no 1 hour dog walk. This is no pottery session. This is a mural. And she come to your home, and you could be abroad. Wow. This is generous.
Yeah.
I will say
Well,
that.
that just shows that where she has houses.
Oh, I guess so. All right. And what is she doing? Is she doing movies and stuff now or whatever?
I don't know.
She had a movie called Little Furniture, which, of course, took like the Aspen Film Festival by storm, although it was boring and it sucked, but that's how they work.
I think she's done.
She's done. All right. This is she's no Lithgow, but this is heavy lifting. Sorry. All right. I'm going to say.
Can't wait till I go to hell. I'm like, hey, how you doing, Adam? How you doing?
Hey, see?
Something told me you'd
Hell
be
by
here.
We both ended up in the
association,
same place, aren't you? Aren't you sad you were nice? All right. $11,000.
I'm gonna underbid you on this one.
Oh.
Just based on level of fame, because Lithgow is such an A-lister. That's pushing up his price. So I'm gonna put her at 7,500. Keep in mind, I've been wrong on every one. So what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
keep
was
my streak going.
thinking like you, but I thought so much time into this one.
Well, Alonzo, good news. You're on a streak, baby.
All right.
Yeah.
Another loss. Another L. How much?
$5,100.
Oh, wow.
What did you bid?
1,100.
No, I said
No, he said
11,000.
11,000.
Oh, 11. I'm
You
sorry.
said
That's, I know. Yeah, that's
Alonzo's
what I meant.
back,
Yeah,
everybody.
I got one.
Man.
Didn't you say you said 7,500.
Are you listening to any of the show?
I do. I'm trying.
All right, Alonzo's score. Let's do one more. Winner take all.
Okay, here we go. Bob Odenkirk and David Cross will join you for dinner. You and a guest enjoy an in-person dining experience with Mr. Show creators and real-life besties, Bob Odenkirk and David Cross, in New York or Los Angeles. If you can't travel, you will dine over Zoom with delivery from your favorite local restaurant. How much did they pay?
Okay, I want to tell you a quick Odenkirk story. Do you know him?
Not well. Or not at all, really.
So they were doing a thing in Montreal. They were calling it the Wake instead of a roast. So they would have a comic's friends come and say some nice things about him, as a change up. And there were a bunch of flights canceled for some reason, and none of his friends made it. Patton Oswalt was the only one there. So they had like me, and they had Laurie Kilmartin, and I was like, yeah, I've known Bob ever since backstage. Like I literally met him 5 minutes before I had to go do this thing
funny.
on him. He was great though. Right? Just totally cool guy.
Well, people love Better Call Saul, and and there's a lot of nerds that love the show, and I think you just have old school fans, and this is dinner with what could be comedy heroes for a lot of people. But how much? Now, let's see. What's Dave Cross up to? He's out touring
Still
and
movies.
doing stuff?
He pops up randomly in a lot of movies. Kind of character actor kind of
Right.
stuff.
And Arrested Development still cult following.
Do we go high? Do we go a little bit? But Odenkirk's got a lot of Better Call Saul people out there. They got money, got a
Breaking
dinner.
Bad, Better Call Saul. He's
see.
I think he's nominated for an Emmy.
I would do another power move. So this is dinner with these guys.
Yeah. What's your
Yes,
power
this
move?
is dinner in person.
I would buy it, and then I would be on the phone the entire time. And then at some point when they went like, do you want to do this dinner or not? I'd be like, oh, I'd do the hand thing. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. And I'd put the phone down and I'd go, geez Christ, I got to take a dump. Could you guys order for me? And I would just leave for 20 minutes. That's the power move. All right.
It reminds me of like that story of I think it was Don Rickles. Yeah, and he's like, to Frank Sinatra, hey, Frank, you just come and say hi to my table. I want to impress this girl I'm with. And Frank's like, all right. So Don's eating dinner with this girl, and Frank walks up. He's like, hey, Don, out. And then Don just goes, hey, Frank, I'm busy eating. Sorry. And just shoos him away.
Frank, I'm with people.
All right, here it is for all the marbles. $9K.
I'm going 15.
For all the marbles, dinner with Bob Odenkirk and David Cross sold for $24,550.
Alonzo.
The win goes to Alonzo.
Finally.
Until the next auction, that was Hollywood Hand-Me-Downs.
Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but nothing was below $5,000, so I have a feeling they had a
minimum.
I have a feeling everything went for possibly $5,000. I'd like to see the full
It's funny.
list.
I had $5,000 in my head for most of these things because I don't think they wanted the optics of just eating shit out there for $71.
No, some stuff went for below, I think.
Like what? Give
was
us
the
one. What's
low?
under $1,000?
I'm pulling up the list right now.
All right.
A Hawaiian, like some of the memorabilia, like a Hawaiian shirt signed by Daniel Radcliffe and Weird Al went for $3,000.
Know what I'd like to do? You know what we should have done? We should have went lunch with the Man Show guys, and then me and Doug Stanhope show up and look at the person's face. Oh, fuck. Hey, that's all we said. All right. I don't know, Alonzo, you're a car guy, so I pulled this one for you because I was talking about Hollywood hand-me-downs. It's not exactly that, but I was at Pebble Beach walking around the auctions 3 months ago, and I found that Ferrari that was balled up that sold for $2 million.
Right.
Did you see that thing? And I don't know if people really understand what that car looked like. I walked all around that car. It was, I wouldn't even know where to start. Like the guys I were with were like, I don't think you could salvage anything. I was like, you're going to have to salvage something because it sold for $2 million.
A 1954 Ferrari 500 Mondial Spider.
Yeah.
But they said they're going to rebuild this, right? They're going to make, this was the race car, right? This was the race car that they found.
Somebody's wife is pissed. That's all I got to say about this one.
You know what I say about those things?
There's pictures of it that are worse than even what we're looking at. I saw them in the dirt.
There are people to whom $2 million is $20.
Yep.
That's who, and they're like, okay, I'm going to spend $2 million for this, and I'm going to give it to some restorer.
Yeah.
And just go ahead,
I'm just saying the wife of the dude who spent the $2 million probably said something like, you bought a $2 million Ferrari? Yeah. It's going to be delivered in 2 weeks. And wife went, delivered? We only live a few miles from the Why don't you just drive it back home?
I can't wait to go for a joyride in it.
Don't get your scarf out yet, baby. It's going to be a little while. Yeah, this thing is a rusty, destroyed pile of junk, but they had an entire Ferrari section of just rusted out. They had a Ferrari that a tree landed on and stuff. It was crazy. Once in a while, somebody goes nuts and collects a bunch of Ferraris and then leaves them in a barn and then dies. And this is what happens. But that guy is never my dad or anyone in the Carolla family.
No, it's never anyone you know. It's something you heard about.
Yes.
Everyone's heard about it. And
this is what I want.
Now, is this a thing that's uniquely Ferrari? Like, I don't see, Lamborghinis. I don't see, on occasion you'll get a Porsche, but the Porsche isn't destroyed. The Porsche still, it was just hidden away. Is this a uniquely Ferrari thing to have these? Because if that's a Chevy, they totaled it, right?
Oh, yeah.
You took the insurance money a long time ago, so is it only Ferraris that they're like, no matter how dilapidated and destroyed, I'm going to hang on to this?
There is, Lamborghini doesn't go back that far. They go back to like 65, 64, 65. And those cars, when they're mint, are worth $500K. So when they're totally destroyed, maybe $125 or something. But they don't. These are, when it's mint, it's $8 million.
Yeah.
So you can spend $2 million on it, spend another $2 million putting it back together, and you're still $4 million to the good. Except for you are going to tell the story that this is what this thing was.
So this is one of 13.
One of 13. Yeah, and
Did somebody die in this thing, or like what? It's a wreck.
I don't know what the story was, but I did see it in person, and they just set it outside in the dirt. All right.
Joni Mitchell wrote a song about it.
Oh, really?
If somebody dies in a car, does it affect the price? In which way?
There was a Ferrari GTO, which are the most expensive Ferraris that go. There actually was a Ferrari GTO that was being shown that is going to sell in New York that they think is going to set some sort of Ferrari record or GTO record or something in a month or something, like November or something. Like they think it's going to get $75 million or something like that. There was a Ferrari GTO about 3 or 4 years ago that sold that was known as sort of the cursed GTO because like somebody did die in it at Le Mans.
Didn't Steve McQueen? Was it Steve McQueen?
Die?
The shell of him or someone else's car, and an actor of his caliber in the same area. Did he die in a car crash? But
James
it wasn't.
Dean?
Was it James? Okay, maybe James Dean.
Well, if
didn't
you
he?
had
But
James
that car-
Dean's Porsche, you'd be doing okay, but it doesn't exist because it got stolen
Right.
and no one ever found it, which is a crazy
but that adds
story.
to the value. That
I
it's
would say
missing.
the James Dean part does. And then there was a Steve McQueen Ferrari that sold for $10 million, and it's been at least 12 or 13 years, I think. It was. It made me, Alonzo, you know a lot about cars, and then you watch movies. And when they get shit wrong in the movie about the cars, it pisses you off, right?
It's annoying.
All right, now I'll let you think about it. For me,
I didn't know cars could fly between buildings until I saw the Fast and the Furious.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was my last one. I think when they flew the car building to building, it's like, all right, I played along long enough. I can no longer play when cars fly building to
they
building.
were in Dubai, and they went building to building. And so there was Steve McQueen's 4-cam Ferrari that sold for $10 million, and then it's selling again, and they ain't getting $10 million. Somebody lost $4 million or something on it, so I hear from an insider. But it was featured, not that car, but a Ferrari 4-cam or Ferrari 275 GT, whatever, was Alan Alda's car in the movie Tower Heist that he had parked in his penthouse.
Right.
And he said, I bought this as the Steve McQueen, 275 Ferrari, and I bought it last year for $1 million, except for the actual car sold for $10 million a year before that. I don't know why no one fucking figured that one out.
These are the things with, like, do you have Google?
Yes.
It's such an easy thing
Yes,
to check, like,
Bijou.
how much did this car actually sell? Because, and the other thing about that is, you don't even have to know about cars to know that if someone had, like, a Ferrari, $1 million doesn't sound like a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like if you're into cars, you're like, oh, this car cost $1 million. You'd be like, well, that's not a lot. I mean, it is to the average person, but if you're talking about collectible Ferraris, I wouldn't
Who it
think.
would be impressive to.
Right. It's not that impressive to have.
Yeah, the Hollywood guys know nothing about cars, and they drive me nuts. Of course, the John Wick one where what's his name comes out.
John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo looks at the Mustang and he looks under it, and things all beat to shit. And Keanu's been driving it to hell and back, and he looks and he goes, "The radiator's popped," and
and the frame was bent.
then he goes, "The drive shaft's all shot to hell." And it's like, if the drive shaft's shot to hell, he ain't making it here. So pick another item other than the goddamn drive shaft, you idiots. No drive shaft, no drive. It's got the word drive right in it. Just pick another car part for him to make up and pretend like he knows it, and then do that.
When my truck got crashed into, one of the things they said, the drive was disconnected.
Yeah, drive shaft. Yeah. Or they will call it. Here's a question.
That's when I knew John
What
Wick
else
was
do they
fiction.
call the drive shaft? The propeller shaft.
Not in a car.
Yeah, they do.
Really?
In race cars. And, they like to mix it up so they're smarter than you are every once in a while.
Because I was going to say, in Leguizamo's defense, you don't really want to say no to John Wick. Like John Wick asks you something, you're like, John, I'm going to make that happen because you tend to kill
He was
any
going to
and
say
everyone.
no.
Fix that drive shaft, John.
He'd just say the radiators shot up and the brakes are bled.
But when he said something about the frame was bent. It's like, that's pretty much does it. Like,
He got into the drive shaft and it made me angry. That's all. All right.
Roy's an awesome mechanic.
Other than that, fine. All right, we'll take a break. Come back to the news right after this. Well, good news. It's O Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get the most out of your membership. Shop, earn points, and get rewards sent right to your phone or email. If you're not an O Rewards member yet, sign up. It's quick and it's easy. You can do it online or in the store if you like. Just ask one of their professional parts people about joining O Rewards next time you visit, and you can start earning points on your first purchase. Sign up for both email and text and get even more out of your membership. And right now, members receive 2 times, 3 times, up to 8 times O Rewards points on select purchases. Those bonus points can help you get to your next reward even faster. You receive a $5 reward for every 150 O Rewards points, and you can use your reward on your next in-store or online purchase. So don't miss O Rewards Member Appreciation Month now at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store and O'ReillyAuto.com. Alonzo Bodden hanging for the news. Shows coming up all over the place, and you should visit AlonzoBodden.com to find out where he's going to be. All right, Chris, let's get a little news out.
So there's some memoirs coming out that are spilling some tea. Let's start off with Britney Spears. So she's releasing a memoir called "The Woman in Me," where she is, I guess, revealing all. First off, she says that she revealed why she cut off all of her hair ahead of her conservatorship. So she said, "I was made to understand that that those days were now over with her having freedom after she had the conservatorship." She said, "I had to grow my hair out and get back into shape. I had to go to bed early and take whatever medication they told me to take." So in a way to push back, she goes into a salon, asks them to buzz her hair. They said no. So she said, "Okay, I'm just going to do it myself." And that's where those paparazzi photos of her doing it herself in the room came from. Because, this salon was like, there's no way we're going to do this.
Oh, she did it in the salon herself?
No, she went to a salon asking a hairdresser to do it. She was refused, so she went home or to her hotel room and just did it herself. So,
but why do we have pictures of her doing it?
Paparazzi.
There's no room in your house that you can't.
Well, maybe
shut
she
the
did it in the windows.
curtains,
I mean,
or-
this could be. Maybe she wanted the photos to be taken, but
I thought the pictures. I thought she was in front of some place or something, or maybe it's somewhere she went after she shaved her. What are these?
it was the salon. It was at the salon. So she took matters in her own hands and grabbed the clipper.
Oh, research! Come on, Max Zapata.
There's a lot. There's a lot of memoir stuff.
Yeah, it's super confusing. Except for I knew she didn't go home. She went to the salon and she.
Yeah,
I thought they did it or she did it. But
My buddy did her tattoo.
And then Busy Phillips came out.
Okay.
My buddy did her tattoo when she went crazy like that. She went to a tattoo place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's done a couple of mine. Yeah, he did her tattoo.
Yeah, there she is. She's at the salon.
And,
all right.
And then she also revealed that Justin Timberlake and her had an abortion.
Oh, my
I heard
God.
about that this morning.
Yeah.
Could have been the greatest pop star that
baby.
kid, pop star Benihana chef on the planet. That kid would have been the greatest pop star knife wielding.
That'd be a dancer.
Yeah.
Or a complete psychopath.
Oh yeah.
That's the flip side of that.
So her quote is, "Justin definitely wasn't happy about the pregnancy. He was 18 years old." She said, he wanted. He was the one that suggested that they get the abortion. She thought she was going to be with him forever, so she was considering. She was brought up with her religion and everything that not to get one, but Justin convinced her.
How much of these do you believe?
How much older is she? The same age? Is she older? Because he's 18. Well, if she's younger, there may be an issue here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Depends on what state
Yeah.
you're in.
I don't know. Let me look
She's
that up.
from Louisiana. I think it's 16 there.
Yeah. I just
Well,
always
someone will look
wondered,
it up.
like, some of these stories, you just wonder, okay, did this happen, or
Justin's
is this
1 year
about
older.
selling the
How
book?
I know that, I have no idea.
Yeah, it is about selling the book. I mean, she's doing an interview with People, and they're quoting excerpts from her book, and then this is just getting huge.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
Headlines.
Between this and Jada Pinkett, I just don't
please.
feel like I need to know so much about
God,
what's going
Jada,
on in
we
your
don't-
world.
we
Let's
don't
jump into
care,
Jada.
I don't.
We
care.
haven't talked about it yet, so yeah,
We
Jada.
don't
yeah,
care.
She's exactly right. Like she's, I mean, it feels like people have already been hating her the last year or so. Just
Well,
the Red
because now
Table
she's
Talks,
doing. You can find her from TMZ. See
Well,
her on TMZ last night.
I sure did, but
Yeah.
but they found her on Hoda's show, and that's what that's
yeah,
what I
she was
got.
on Hoda, and she's talking about we're living our best life, and we're trying to come together as the best people we can find. She's on. Anyone who
I
goes
think-
on a journey bothers me.
Well, my
That
thing
doesn't
is,
involve travel.
when you become more famous for talking about stuff than doing what you do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like Jada, you're an actress, or at least you were an actress, but now there's no acting involved with anything. It's all these crazy stories about you and Will and this and that. And so,
Yeah.
You know.
It's all about your personal journey.
Right.
There's some
But
weird
I'm not
stuff
interested
going
in your
on.
personal
Right,
journey.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
You
she
know-
reveals that they've been separated for years, even like during the Oscar slap, they were separated. It was weird to have Will call her his wife when he was screaming at Chris Rock. She said like Chris Rock even approached her and asked her out. Like there are all these weird things she's saying. Her kids are saying, "Oh, we feel bad that all of this is happening with our parents." And then Will posts a picture of him like on a boat in the sea, like, "Oh, everything's good." You know, that's his response, like living my best life. You know, it's the best
But
revenge.
why is she sitting with him at the Oscars if they're separated and haven't lived together for years?
Yeah.
I don't
She's confusing.
know.
She's being very confusing with her messaging. And then I watched this clip of her and Hoda, and it's even weird how she's responding to Hoda's questions.
All right. Well, let's check this out.
So wait, just so I'm 100% clear, you were divorced, not on
Right.
paper, but now we might be a point where we're back together.
We are working very hard at bringing our relationship together.
Back to a marriage again.
Back to a life partnership.
Partnership.
Yes.
Oh, she's got Kamala Harris syndrome, where she doesn't say anything. She's just saying it in an important
With a
way.
cadence, yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. Sophia
That's her
Vergara.
acting.
I'm
That's her acting.
I'm gonna put together a list of women I never fucking need to hear from again. I got Sophia Vergara, who's on every entertainment show explaining something to us about living her life, and now we got Jada.
But Sophia Vergara is still working though.
Yeah, that's true.
She's
She at
still
least
doing
does something.
funny stuff.
Yes.
She's acting, or she's on the game show. She's a judge, right? So at least she's still doing something.
Yeah, I know Jada Pinkett is not doing.
Jada
things.
hasn't done anything in a while.
All right.
And then Sir Paul McCartney, he has a new podcast, and he talked about Yoko Ono.
Oh.
Yeah, and here's a quote. He said, "John and Yoko had got together, and that was bound to have an effect on the dynamics of the group. Things like Yoko being literally in the middle of the recording session were something you had to deal with. The idea was that if John wanted this to happen, then it should happen. There's no reason why not. Anything that disturbs us is disturbing. We would allow this and not make a fuss, and yet at the same time, I don't think any of us particularly liked it. It was an interference in the workplace. We had a way we worked. The four of us worked with George Martin, and that was basically it. And we'd always done it like that. So not being very confrontational, I think we just bottled it up and just got on with it."
Wow, she really did break up that band. Also, this is on him. It's on John. John, it's like that famous clip of her with Chuck Berry and John with Chuck Berry, which I'm sure you've seen, and it's an insult to your people.
I'm going to back
an
up.
attack.
I'm going to back up and say, once you've been knighted, you can't have a podcast.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
weird,
one
right?
or the other. You can't. If you're Sir Adam Carolla, then you have to let go of this show. You're
Yeah.
a knight now.
No, I agree. Why spend your days podcasting
right.
when you've
You're
been knighted?
you're a knight. You've been knighted.
Yeah.
You don't podcast. you just.
It's weird to put them in the same sentence.
And listen, when I started podcasting 15 years ago, if you would have told me that Paul McCartney's podcasting, my head would have exploded.
And what ad is Paul McCartney reading? This is Sir Paul McCartney for BetterHelp.
Hello Fresh. You think all delivery meal systems are the same? You haven't tasted Hello Fresh.
When I'm sitting in the kitchen, yeah, okay, Sir Paul. Yeah. No, you can't.
Yeah, because how does he transition? He's dishing the dirt on Yoko, and he goes right into blinds galore.
Use promo code HeyJude.
That's right.
Checkout.
Remember, spell Jude correctly. We have many people from all walks of life answering the phone here at Blinds Galore. Yeah, look, okay, but this is on him. And I'll tell you why it's on him. I mean, as much as everyone wants to blame her, if you said, she said this to me, look, I'd like to come to the recording sessions and stand in between all you guys with a cowbell. I would just go, sweetheart, this is our business. I love you very much. I don't think it's fair to the other guys. Stay home. I'll come home with takeout in about 7 hours, and we will make $1 kajillion on this next album. But just hang out, because this is work.
Right. You got to say no out of respect to the other guys in the band and to the creative process and everything else. And if it's your wife, like, she should understand that. You know what I mean? Like, that's...
Yes.
It happens in comedy where you have couples where one opens for the other, and it can be a very weird...
Oh, it
can be a very weird dynamic. I mean, with some people it's okay, but it's one of those things that, maybe not.
Right.
Maybe, we had one, right? We had mom doing blowjob jokes in front of her young son. That's not good.
Yeah, I agree. It made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But not as uncomfortable as that chicken taco made me feel, but it was uncomfortable. And yes, this is on John Lennon, which is keep her at home. And I would say, look, when we have a party, when we have the rap party, the album rap party, the release party, by all means, you're invited. You're invited to everything. But when we're working, we're working. And if you had some modicum of talent, that would be different.
Right.
But who has less talent and is more self-assured than Yoko Ono? Like, what I'm saying is it's one thing to be talentless, but who has zero talent and grabs the microphone? Like, is there anyone with a chasm between talent and chutzpah?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
And not only that, and he could have said this too, like, you've heard of the Beatles, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're not, we're not, like, I'm not in a band. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in the greatest
There's
band
not Scotty,
at that time.
Snotty Scotty and the
biggest band
Hankies
in the
haven't
world.
come to town. We're the Beatles.
Yeah, we're the Beatles. Like, you understand?
Everybody should be afraid to even touch this.
Right. You could sing, like, if you're in some up and coming, if I'm in a college band, I'd be like, hey, fellas, listen, I'm trying to get laid, man. Let her just play the cowbell.
Maybe even if you're one of the blowfish, you let her come by.
Yeah.
But
on a bar gig, but not in studio.
The preface with, sweetie, you're going to sit in the booth, and there's not going to be a lot of talking going on. But she would want to get involved.
I give you an example. There's a guy, George Duke, big funk jazz guy, and they were doing this big production, like everybody, all these musicians were sitting in, right? And I'm the comic. I opened, and they gave me a tambourine, and they literally said, stay away from the microphone. They're like, you can be in the picture with a tambourine. Nobody wants to hear you playing the tambourine. Don't be near anything that would amplify how offbeat and how bad you are. I got a great picture of it. They're like, just stay away from anything that would amplify that sound.
We have Chuck Berry in that famous clip of Chuck and Yoko, and it's perfect. But here's my point. This is on John Lennon. She shouldn't be on stage with musicians.
Have you ever had a girlfriend that all your friends hated? Because a lot of the times you don't even know until after you've broken up with her.
Yeah, I don't think I've had girlfriends that may have had a few too many drinks at a party and kind of gotten people's grill a little bit. I've had that experience before.
I've had girlfriends that my friends' wives are like, no, that's not. You know what I mean? Like, and it's funny with women because that decision takes 30 seconds. Like, you know what I mean? Like, within an instant of meeting them, they're going to tell you why you're going to break up 9 months from now. And you're like, can you teach me that? Can you just like when a woman walks in and she sees some other woman and she's like, that woman wants to screw you. And it's like, can you teach me how to learn that
good
quick?
to know.
Because
Right.
you knew, like she knew right away which one to watch out for.
Yeah, I don't even have gaydar. Forget about women that are into me. All right, we'll play the clip just because it's fun. She should have physically been removed from the building. Like, she's screaming into a microphone while the love of her life is having a make-a-wish moment with his hero. And she's going to stand there and scream into a mic. She doesn't get nearly as much shit as we should give her.
Does John even confront her about this? Do you think, like, he wouldn't even say anything? Or just based off of how he was performing there, it looked like he didn't even care
I'm
what was
just
going on.
surprised that Chuck Berry didn't just stop. You know what I mean? Like
almost
can you
did,
imagine? Can you imagine like that's Prince, right? And he's doing, and your wife just stop. Well, what are you doing? What?
It was a Beatle, so John Lennon's playing with his childhood hero, and Chuck Berry's playing with a Beatle. So they have that to consider.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even Chuck's going, well, I'm hanging with a Beatle. That's pretty cool.
Why do I think Kanye wouldn't put up with that?
Kanye wouldn't. It's a Ike Turner. Ike Turner would have gone full El Capone. He would have grabbed that guy's bass guitar and swung it like an axe.
Ike Turner would have been, John, let me show you how to handle this.
Yeah. John, there's a few ways. John, check this. Now, you guys can sit in counseling for 6 years, or there's another way we can end this. And end it fast. Yeah. You want to spend a lot of money and spend a lot of time sitting in some guy's office who's got suede patches on his blazer, or I can show you the Ike Turner way to end this, and it ends today, and it never comes back.
Never comes back.
That's the Ike Turner method.
He had the most talented wife in the world.
I know. I would never, I would never beat on a cash cow.
Right,
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I would never beat on an earner. You know what I mean? Like, Ike Turner has a golden goose earner, hardest working woman in show business, and he's beating the shit out of her.
Well, that's the ego, because the hatred was how much better she was than him, right? Because he had the Ike Turner Review,
right?
And then she comes along and she's just, everybody's like Tina Turner, that's what it was. I mean, that ego just snapped, and it was horrible. But yeah, I don't know. But in this situation, Ike would have turned around. We'd have been like, remember Yoko Ono? Remember that time she tried to sing with Ike Turner?
Oh, that one time she tried to sing with Ike Turner. Yeah, he literally would have earned his name by just turning slowly, balling up his fist, and taking care of this problem. Yeah, never again. But P-Whip John sat and took it. Next thing, she goes from disrupting the Beatles to getting on. Okay, whoever let her on stage? That's the whole point. Is nobody asked her to come on stage.
It seems safe enough. It's like the tambourine. Alonzo playing the tambourine. It's like, just hit it. Just kind of stay near the mic. You'll just be up there.
Right, but John has to know. First off, she's probably grabbed that mic and screamed into it 5 dozen times since. I mean, she's the type of person.
There's been jams
that if there were, one of those big restaurants where they have the mic in the front at the receptionist, she probably grabbed that thing and went. This guy was going like Johnson, party of three. There's nothing she wouldn't scream into.
Yeah,
so he knew she had that capacity. Now, if John should have talked to the sound guy early and said,
"Hey,
I want that mic as fucking cold as my grandfather's body back in Liverpool. Like, that's how fucking cold I want that mic.
And we're going to put her off in this corner."
Right.
Like I said, they just, when you have a band situation, you can hide someone silently.
Yeah, you
like,
do what the Partridge Family did with Tracy. They did the same thing they did with Alonzo. You hand him a tambourine, tell him to look good and not to say anything.
That's it.
Yeah, you got Tracy by those jazz guys.
I was honored to be on that stage. I was like, don't worry, you won't be hearing from me. I'm just here.
You got Tracy, bro. Because that's what they did with Tracy from the Partridge Family. They took a little 4-year-old girl and they just give her a tambourine, and she just out of sync and out of time just sat there. Yeah, this is on him. And the fact that after it got cut off, she started pulling it out of the mic stand and screaming into it.
But
She's a horrible person.
The look on Chuck Berry's face is priceless.
You want to get sad, Alonzo? Yoko Ono is the most famous Japanese person in the world right now, living.
Wow. No.
I know. That's what I thought. That was a scary thought. I was like, but let's beat her then. I mean, like Ike Turner would.
Trying to think that now
This
you got
is
me trying to think of
George
Japanese
Takei.
people.
This is the problem.
Trying to think of Japanese. Oh man,
Ichiro?
you're killing me. Yeah. What about Ichiro? Ichiro's got to be up there.
He's not. I don't think he's.
Nah, he's not up
He's
there
not a
with
household.
Yoko.
Yoko Ono is a household name.
Well, in her defense, destroying the Beatles is a pretty big move. You know what I mean? Like
known
you
for
would
that.
be,
Yeah.
If you destroy the Beatles, there's going to be some notoriety involved.
The most famous Japanese person on the planet is Yoko Ono.
Yeah. Well,
That is the saddest. That's the saddest realization I've ever had. It really is. No
someone
hyperbole.
told me, and I don't know if this is true, but someone told me that Kim Kardashian is the most famous woman on earth.
I couldn't argue with that.
Taylor
And that,
Swift.
That
has
blew
that.
my mind. That blew my mind.
Well,
But-
maybe Taylor Swift in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, Taylor Swift is like a bigger star, but just fame. Just in other words, people just knowing who she is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hear that with like Tom Cruise as the guy. He's the most recognizable face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was like when Muhammad Ali was the most famous person in the world, and you could believe it. You're like, yeah, everybody in the world would know
Yes.
who Muhammad Ali was. When he in his day, but that's. I mean, listen. God bless Kim Kardashian. She pulled it off. I'm long past any hating on her, but that's just a fascinating.
Yeah.
So, like you think of all the women who've done all these. I mean, there's 11 women on the list.
The guitar list. Top 100.
Yeah.
It kind of shows where our priorities are as human beings.
Well, it's
not-
social
doesn't-
media. It's social media has made,
It doesn't, pardon the pun, bode well for us as a society that we've taken
Who are empowering.
two talentless people and made them the most popular folks on the planet of their own ethnicity, for sure. I mean, the most popular Armo on the planet's got to be Kim Kardashian by a long shot. The most popular. I like to break everything down around racial lines because
Yeah, we
that's
got
my
that.
move. It was discussed at the barbecue.
Really?
I told the guys at the fellas at the barbecue. Sorry, in fact, got lost in the mail. But I need the most famous of like Conor McGregor would be the most.
Yeah. Who's the most
Irish
famous
guy.
black person then?
I don't think there's one.
Because they have an Oprah.
Right, because you have so many different ways, right?
There's
so
a LeBron James.
How do you compare
LeBron, yeah.
Oprah to Michael Jordan, right?
Right.
And then you have like Tiger Woods. Like people didn't want to admit it, but Tiger was far more famous than Jordan because a lot of the world doesn't play basketball, but the whole world plays golf.
Right.
And then you got Lewis Hamilton, right, who's anywhere outside of the United States is a god. Walking around,
but then the question with a Lewis Hamilton and anybody who's the biggest Brazilian rock band in the world, like if you haven't cracked the United States in terms of household name, even though our populace doesn't scratch that of many other continents, but we're the tastemakers.
Yeah.
So we should get extra votes. You know what I mean?
This is you got to crack it, and then you have like Serena. It's how I mean. Again, how do you compare her? 'Cause
Well-
actually, in a lot of places, Oprah isn't super famous. I mean, she's amazingly famous here, but it's not like the talk show.
At the barbecue, we discussed you can only pick one. That's the thing. If we got one Japanese and one Armo, one Korean and one Scotsman, you just got to pick one. And then the pickings get slim when you get to like Italians and stuff like that because you pick like a director, you know what I mean? Like Francis Ford Coppola or something. Like what do we do with the IDs? And then you might pick, I'm Italian, like I said, you might pick another F1 guy. I don't know if the guys are French or Italian. Who's the guys on top of the world F1?
Well, you got
right now?
Max Verstappen. You got Fernando Alonso. Has to be one of the most famous. I mean, he's past his prime, but still.
Yeah, Verstappen, and there's one other guy,
recognized.
Leclerc or something.
Yeah, Leclerc.
Right. So I have to figure out where they're from.
Yeah.
All right. Alonzo's dogs out there just took a 20-pound dump, so we got to get the snow shovel out
Sure.
and get going. He ate
And
the
it
sofa.
still doesn't smell as bad as the gauze.
No.
That was 1980.
Good callback. All right, Alonzo's got shows. Saginaw, Michigan, coming up soon. October 25th, Dow Event Center. Do not miss a world-class comedian in his prime. Podcast, Who's Paying Attention, and dates, alonzobodden.com. I'm going to be in Spokane, Washington, Spokane Comedy Club, October 27th through the 29th. Wait a minute. Is that 28? Oh, wait a minute. Something's wrong with that.
You're going to be there 27th and 28th, and then you're going over to Tacoma on the 29th.
There you go. Why is there so much of that in life? Also, all the VIPs are sold out, I think, for Spokane, but there's general admission tickets that are around. We can do that.
You have too many shows.
Go to AdamCarolla.com for that. Until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Alonzo Bodden and Chris Max Pattis saying mahalo.